just a sign note for you guys, Yewan is our international person. She's just like, you come from a different culture, different environment. So we expect her to be a certain way, which is like, more reserved, more like more towards like Asian culture. But when we actually met her, she was the complete opposite of that. And which is why we glued and we bonded.
Exactly.
And how she became part of this Ragtag friend group.
Which is why we are also called Ragtag, because like, this just doesn't make sense.
This just doesn't make sense. Like you have quiche right here. How would you describe yourself like?
Gen Z. Oh my god. By the way, I am 23 years old. The age this year is
2000.
Yeah, 2000 baby. They're all in their 90s. Not actually 9-year-olds. People.
She's really Anyone could have been 89.
Easily, at Seoul, yes. So I've got age. That's where one difference is I don't fit technically in this.
On paper, she doesn't.
On paper.
But look how it turned out.
Exactly, see? I got adopted.
By me, and we had already become friends.
Yeah. The first time I've ever seen or heard Jess was literally because she was being the loudest person in class.
That's the same how I felt about her. Okay, so let's just go in depth about like how we actually came together. So the first time, our very first class, like she's just so freaking flamboyant. Mind you, she had pink hair back then, and she just stood out like a sore thumb. And I was like, man, she's got that big ass personality, and I just don't know how to deal with it. Like, and then when we were at Holly's, and she put us into a group. And I was like, fuck, I'm in the same group with this girl that I feel so like on the edge about. I'm like, okay, let me just talk to her, whatever. Like, and I think Jess complimented me on like my leg tattoo, and I was like, okay, like she's cool. She's
I
hip.
overheard that conversation.
She's hip.
After that class, Jess had finished her code just as I did too. And then I walk into the elevator, and Jess is like there, and I could tell Jess looked over at me. And then I was like in my natural like Vancouver mode where I'm just like, I'm not gonna fucking talk to anyone. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm like, I don't talk to
Vancouver mode.
But I saw it in the corner of my eye and I was like, you know what? No, I'm gonna make an effort. And I was like, so how'd you find that class? We just like wordlessly went to A&W and then just bought me an apple juice.
Oh my so you gotta. Yeah. So I know how I met you two, but I had no idea how this girl came up.
The first person I talked to was Jess, I think. I mean,
yeah, I think so.
See, the glue person.
Yeah, obviously she has pink hair. And the next day,
it was at this moment that he knew he fucked up.
Are you serious? Are you serious?
I didn't really think that I would fit in because I'm like, I'm too old. I'm at 31 years old. I'm like new to the country. I don't really have friends, and I'm like, I was like, I really thought that I was just gonna be in the classroom and do my shit, and then graduate in no time.
I came into this program on our first day expecting not being able to make any friends because we were so far beyond just at such different parts and different stages in life and just different age groups. The person that actually glued everyone together was this person.
Straight up.
This person, and I knew the first time we had that conversation in the elevator, I knew I could fuck with you. Like I knew we could be friends. Like right there now.
It was about Prime. That was the first thing you ever said to me. You're
Prime,
cool.
Yeah. You know what?
Those things can like bond people together.
You know what? I started giving you shit for something, and then she started laughing, and I think that's how it kind of came to be.
The way Eric responds sometimes is like purposely like to make you like feel like you fucked up in a way. Like
I know.
It was like summer and it was like super hot, and so like Jensen made that joke that like Eric is the type of dude to like take off his shirt when it gets too hot and just walk around like that. And then she said that to Eric, and Eric was like, I don't do that.
Like, why would you think I would do that? That's not what kind of person I am.
And at that point I checked out of the conversation. I was like, oh, I'm not getting involved in this.
I really thought like Eric and I wouldn't click. He has this Asian vibe also, so it's like we are very reserved in a way. So like unless someone makes a first move, then we don't really go ahead and make a first contact. And so like unless you two were involved, I wouldn't be able to.
I don't think so.
I wouldn't be able to.
I'll do round robin and talk about our first impressions of each other. Okay. Talk briefly about my first impressions of Jess. Loud, just really out there, and I could tell like she was a lesbian like right away.
I couldn't tell.
Right away, you were like the classic example of that. That's how I felt about you. I was like, man, this girl is like, she's really hip. She's really down. Like she's like I was like.
Up in my button up but open and like my undershirt. Eric was like in Monica's class. I think I literally had a first impression that Thursday of everyone. Like And Eric was sitting like, I was sitting at the edge of that. Eric was sitting like 2 seats behind, right? And he was just like, just your very obvious like gym bro, like quiet, like not really gonna talk, you know? And I was like, I'm probably never gonna speak to this guy, like ever. And then when we went to Malone's, we did this astrology thing where we checked everybody's astrology, and the way Eric was so open-minded about that for being who he is, I was like, okay, he's not like just some douchebag, you know? And I was just like, okay, that's fine. Like in that case, that was my test to you, like subconsciously.
I feel that.
Yeah.
I felt it too. See, stereotypes.
Stereotypes. Never judge a book by its cover, for real.
I've never seen a guy who's so into astrology.
To astrology, yeah.
I mean, seriously, what's up with North American astrology?
It's big. It's big.
It's science
It's
over here.
huge.
I mean, it's
Even-
more like a religion over here.
You guys should have seen like my
I
mom-
mean,
my
like,
mom
you know.
asked her like what time I was born,
Oh.
where I was born. She was
Yeah.
like, "What are you into now?"
Yeah, exactly. I asked my mom about this. I'm like, are you into cult? No, mom.
No.
It's like there's like a whole formula over here.
Oh, yeah,
For me to
100%.
figure out who I am. Comes like, you know who you are. What are you talking about? I'm like, yeah, mom, I thought so. And I'm like, apparently I didn't know.
It's
You know,
incredible.
And my sister's a scientist, right? And then so she's very methodical and like just logical and scientific.
Yeah.
So I was talking to her about this stuff, and she's like, "Man, like Eric, I can't believe you went down that path. Like, you know that all that
You
stuff."
should
is-
understand planets, though.
She put it this way. She said, "You know all that stuff is bias-centric, right? Like you're inclined to believe in whatever you're reading and trying to tailor that towards your own opinions." But I'm like, sis, you don't understand. You don't understand. And that shit was talking to me about like my tendencies and like relationships and like all that stuff. I was like, you can't make this shit up. Like you can't make this shit. Literally.
Yeah.
You gotta know what time you were born, where you were born.
Eric is telling you how to find your birth chart.
Yep. And you just gotta use the right website. There you go.
Yeah.
Boom. And that'll tell you everything you need about your fucking life.
Cafeastrology.com.